and there are 34 people.
Terrific. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. 35 people now. That's lovely. We're going to go ahead and get started. All 35 of you, welcome. Thank you all for making it 36 now. Thank you all for being here. We are Sigma Tau Delta, the International English Honor Society. That is hopefully the least surprising thing you will hear tonight. We are proud to present this webinar, encouraging y'all and walking y'all through the process of applying to share your academic work at our Colorful Colorado convention this upcoming March and April in, of course, Denver, Colorado. Just a few quick audiovisual sort of IT stuff. Please note that your audio is going to be muted for the duration of the presentation. If you've got any questions or comments that come up, we're going to direct your attention to two very crucial buttons we'll be using over the course of the night. There is one, I believe it's in the top right-hand corner of your screen. It's got two little chat bubbles. That is our chat feature for the evening. Go ahead and test out your chat feature by, as some of y'all have been doing, share where you are, who you are, where you're studying at the moment. Thank you to those of you who are jumping right in there. If you have a question, specifically something pertaining to what we've covered on these slides and something that we can answer as Sigma Tau Delta, please turn your attention to the other two little chat bubbles, the Q&A button immediately to the right of that chat feature. Those Q&A questions will display themselves automatically over the course of the evening. It'll help us out a lot. This presentation is brought to you by us three. Diane, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. I'm Diane Steinberg, and I'm coming to you from Ewing, New Jersey. I am this year's convention chair. Welcome very much. And in response to one of the questions, yes, this is being recorded.
Thanks, Diane.
Hi, I'm Alfie Gabriel, and I'm from the central office. Right now, I'm in Elburn, Illinois, which is about 30 minutes away from the central office. And what I will be helping doing is making sure that your submissions come in correctly and that they're evaluated correctly. If you have any questions for English Convention at niu.edu, primarily, I will be answering those, but I will also be forwarding those to Diane and to other staff as needed.
Thank you, Elfie. And folks, my name is Brett Iarrobino. I am the Senior Student Advisor for Sigma Tau Delta's Board of Directors. I'm coming at you from Worcester, Massachusetts. Massachusetts folks, please put some love in the chat. And I'll be walking y'all through some very broad convention information, but some very necessary convention information. And I'll be seeing you all at the convention, doing a lot of different tasks and important duties of student leadership, manifesting you'll all be there. So just a very broad and quick agenda to run through for the course of our evening. After we convince you all to actually attend convention, but hopefully there really won't be much convincing necessary, we're going to run through very specific different types of academic opportunities that you have as students to present your work and to submit your work for Sigma Tau Delta's convention. Those are specifically paper presentations, roundtables, and research in the round. And once we go through all the logistics of what those three things look like, we will talk a little bit about what the actual submission process looks like as well. And just some information that would be very handy to write down and to keep track of, but we will definitely send you some emails over the course of the next few months as these dates approach. Our convention in Denver will take place beginning Wednesday, March 29th, Thursday, March 30th, Friday, March 31st, and then we'll conclude on Saturday, April 1st. There will be programming every single day, Wednesday through Saturday. It would be really advantageous to your experience if you were to be there for all 4 days. We'll be staying at the Sheraton Denver Downtown Hotel, which, as you might be able to guess, is located in downtown Denver. We've got really exciting opportunities to hear some speakers at the convention. I have to say, having been to a few of them myself in the last few years, it's really cool how many speakers exactly are going to be at this particular event. Particularly, we've got the author of our 2023 Common Reader, Brenda Penato, who wrote The Rock Eaters. She will be speaking, I believe, on Friday night. The Toni Morrison Book Club, 4 authors are responsible for this incredible work, and we'll be hearing from all 4 of them as well. And then on Wednesday night, we will be kicking things off with about 2 or 3 local Denver writers and poets. You'll be hearing from them, and you'll be hearing from some student leaders introducing them as well, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Why attend the convention? Hopefully the answer is obvious, but if you still need some prodding, just know that being present and being recognized and being a part of a Sigma Tau Delta convention is a very big deal. And it's a really, really cool opportunity to get yourself out there, to get some experience presenting papers and attending roundtables and hearing this work from your peers and from folks from all across the country who are also pursuing English as an academic study. There are a lot of different authors, as we've already talked about. There will also be a lot of different workshops, a lot of different opportunities to actually create content and create some really meaningful pieces of literature and some pieces of perhaps more artistic literature, some things that student leaders, alumni, different members of our community will be facilitating for y'all. These workshops will be taking place, as we mentioned, all across these past few days, and all across those past few days, those 4 days total of the convention, lots of different socialization opportunities and lots of different opportunities to talk to students that you would never talk to before under normal circumstances.
Okay, I'm going to take over for a little bit here. Before I get started, I just want to say 2 things. And one of them is that everything we're doing in this webinar also will be supplemented by the EnglishConvention.org website. If you haven't clicked around EnglishConvention.org, I really recommend that you do so because it's a wealth of information. And the second thing I want to share with you is that I have been reading convention essays for years and years and years. And the judges who read convention essays are not trying to find ways to turn the essays down. They're trying to find ways to say yes to the essay. They're looking for essays that they can think of themselves as saying, a student presenting this in a panel would generate some interest and generate some good questions, so let's say yes. That we do not want to try to make this convention ever super competitive, cutthroat convention. It's a fun convention and a good convention. So I don't want people to be afraid to submit. Sigma Tau Delta students, Sigma Kappa Delta students, and Sigma Tau Delta alumni may all submit to convention. And if you are a transfer student from a 2-year or a different college coming into a new chapter, you are eligible to submit as a provisional member of Sigma Tau Delta as long as you join Sigma Tau Delta at the beginning of your spring semester. So lots of people are eligible to submit. What can students submit? Phew, just about everything under the sun. No, most students will submit a paper, and the papers could be critical essays or creative works. Some students will submit an additional paper, but the second paper must be on the common reader, The Rock Eaters by Brenda Paynato. And that second paper can be a critical essay or a creative work. In addition, students can submit a roundtable presentation or a research in the round table host proposal. And there'll be more about those later. The bulk of our submissions are going to be paper submissions that are critical essays. And that's an academic paper, obviously written in prose about literature or some idea associated with English. We ask you to submit the complete paper that you're going to read. And it has to be 2,000 words or less that you're going to read. So don't count your works cited or bibliography or footnotes or any of those things, just the part of the paper you're going to read aloud. You'll select from a topics list to match your paper up to a whole variety of different topics. And you will submit a very brief thesis statement from your critical essay. Lastly, there'll be 4 drop-down menus with keywords, and you'll choose 1 keyword from each drop-down menu. The last 2 things, the critical essay thesis statement and the keywords, are not part of the judging of your essay. They will be used to put your essay in the best possible paper session so that it talks in a serendipitous and amazing way with the other 3 papers that it's been placed with in a wonderful and brilliant session. The next biggest group of submissions we get will be creative submissions. And these will come in the form of both prose, creative nonfiction, and original prose, and poetry. The same thing is true about the 2,000 words. Whatever you submit to read aloud should be 2,000 words or fewer. You won't have a thesis statement, but you will submit a brief creative project statement. Again, it will not be judged. It will be used to fit your creative project into a session with other creative projects that it will match well with. And again, you will have some keywords to choose from 2 different menus that will help us categorize your work. In addition, of course, some people will be submitting papers about the common reader, The Rock Eaters by Brenda Paynato. The Rock Eaters is a collection of short stories. So if you find a short story or a couple of short stories that you really like, and you want to either write a critical paper responding to them or write a creative work that is inspired by them, that's something that you can submit as well. If you submit something about the Rock Eaters, you're going to put in a brief description of how your work is connected to the Rock Eaters, so because it is a common reader. Thank you, Naaman. Okay. Of all these helpful tips, the 2 most important is start now. Start now. Okay. There's no reason not to. You're going to want to pull something up that you really love and that you really want to read and you really want to share, and you're going to start to look at it. Look for people to read your paper. Ask your advisor, ask your teacher, ask your friends, ask your chapter advisor, just to give you some feedback about the paper. There's no reason not to go into the submission website and create your profile. The first thing you do when you submit is fill in a bunch of information about yourself. Your email and the state that you live in and the name of your chapter advisor. And if you get that stuff done now, then you're ready to submit your paper by the deadline. So that's the 2 most important tips. Start now and ask people to read your paper and give you some feedback. Now, one reason I tell you to submit something that you really love and are really proud of is that the convention has convention paper awards. Last year, over 40 people won convention paper awards, and the average award was $301. So winning a convention paper award can really help you defray some of the costs of getting to convention. The Isabel Sparks President's Awards cover every single category under which you can submit a paper to convention. There are no submissions that are ineligible for awards. The Justin Q. Owen Convention Awards are awards related to the convention theme of Colorful Colorado. And this year, those awards will be for people who write about multicultural literature and world literature by people of color, because our theme is Colorful Colorado. I'm going to skip the next 2 awards. We'll get them on the next slides. But there are special paper awards for students who are Sigma Kappa Deltas members, and there are special convention awards for students who are alumni members. The Stemler-Dennis Award is only in its 2nd year, so it's relatively new, and it's the Stemler-Dennis LGBT & Award, which honors student members who do an LGBTQ+ themed essay or creative work. And to be considered for this award, when you have your keywords, you want to select one of these 2 keywords, either the LGBTQ+ under theme or queer theory, LGBTQ+ theory under critical methodology. As long as you pick one of those, then you are in the running for this award. This is also the 2nd year that we will be giving the Beth de Mayo Poetry Award. And this award is not for your original poetry, but for a critical essay that discusses poetry. And so if you want to be considered for this award, then the genre keyword that you will choose is going to be poetry. Whether it's dramatic or narrative poetry or lyric poetry does not make a difference. But since it's a paper about poetry, you will pick that as your genre keyword. Now, we're switching gears a little bit. Another thing that you can submit is a roundtable. A roundtable, which I didn't understand until at least my 3rd convention, is a 75-minute lively discussion that is primed by the participants who come to the roundtable ready to start the discussion and start the discussion ball rolling. They've done some research. They've thought of some questions. They've kind of prepared 3 to 5 minutes apiece of what they want to say to open up the door and get the discussion going. And sometimes they have materials or audio visuals. So the roundtable submission includes the names of the people who will be doing that work, who will be the participants, a moderator for the roundtable, and if the roundtable is accepted, it just works in a breakout session as an alternative to going to a breakout session and listening to 4 papers. You say, I'm not going to papers this time, I'm going to a roundtable to talk about. Now, the key about a roundtable is that priority selection is given to roundtables that include members from multiple chapters. If you don't know members from multiple chapters and you email englishconvention.org, we will put you in touch with student leaders and regents from your chapter, from your area, and that we will help you find people from other chapters who have the same interest. Lots of emails will fly back and forth before we find students who want to be on your roundtable with you. Suggested roundtable topics really are anything under the sun. Lots of things are possible. We will, of course, be very interested in anyone who wants to do a roundtable on our common reader or on our convention theme of Colorful Colorado. But any kind of literary theme or English-related theme or popular culture theme is just fine. And we would be very interested in accepting and looking at those roundtables. Now, if you are submitting a roundtable, only one person submits the roundtable for the whole group. And that roundtable proposal will have a long abstract up to about 250 words that kind of describes what you're going to do. You'll have a short abstract, which will be what appears in the program app so that people can read and get excited about coming to hear you. It will also have a bibliography that shows some evidence of the work that you will have done before the roundtable, so that the participants are ready to sort of start the discussion. The bibliography does not have to be an academic bibliography. It can just be information that you have gathered that you will be bringing to the roundtable. If you need audiovisual, you have to say that in your proposal and tell us what you're going to use the audiovisual for, because audiovisual is always a precious commodity and we don't have every room equipped with it. And you'll list the participants and the moderator for your roundtable proposal. Research in the round is, again, only in its 2nd year. And I think that you should think of research in the round proposals as the proposal for the paper that hasn't been written yet, but that is still in progress. That you have a research topic that you're working on, and the research in the round gives you a chance to spend an hour chatting with other Sigma Tau Deltans about your potential research and getting some feedback from them. So you will include in your submission your proposed research topic, the short abstract of up to 50 words that will kind of describe your research project, and the long abstract. And that long abstract will include a draft of 2 questions that you're going to ask the people who come up to your table to talk to you about your research. That will be sort of conversation generating questions. And research in the round was kind of fun last year. I think it was sort of speed dating for English nerds, because you only spend about 10 minutes at the table talking with the people about their research, and then you go to the next table and you say, so what are you up to? What do you have to share? What questions do you want to ask me? But 2 of my students did it last year and they had a great time. Okay, over to Elfie.
Hi, everybody. So now you have a pretty good idea of what you want to submit. Now you have to figure out how you're going to submit. And we've tried to make it very easy for you. If you go to the englishconvention.org website, you will see that tab that shows you submissions. And under there, you will see the guides for papers, for roundtables, and research in the round. Select one of those, read through it. It has more detail probably that you'd ever need to know, but it basically recapitulates everything that Diane has put together. Then on the bottom, you'll see a link to the website where you will make the submission. The first thing you will do is create an account. Some of you may have been to convention last year, or you may have had the opportunity to submit to our journal publications last year. If you did that, this is the same system. However, you would need to know both your username and your access password in order to use that. If you don't have it, that's okay. Just create a new account. It doesn't matter. And also, one more thing is, this is not connected to any other account that you have with Sigma Tau Delta. Some of you have invitation accounts for becoming a member, and some of you have also submitted to AwardSpring for awards such as scholarships or internships. Those are different accounts. This is a brand new account. So it's very easy to do. Just log in. And it will guide you and let you know that you need to use 8 characters for your password. So you get into the account, and we'll go to the next slide. And what you will do is you will complete a brief profile. There are a lot of questions in there, but only some of those are required, such as your school, what your academic status, the semester that you were inducted, those type of vital things that we need to know. The rest of it you can complete later on. We will use information like the bios down the road, but that's only, once we get to that presentation phase. So now you're in and you're ready to make your, go back, Naaman. Okay, so here, this picture is what it looks like when you start a new submission. The first thing you're going to do is select the type of submission you have, and that's either going to be a critical essay, creative work, roundtable, or research and around. You identify your membership, and be sure to put your title in. That needs to be 50 characters or less. After that, the system, it does prompt you for every single thing that it's going to ask you for. For example, that thesis that you put in for a critical paper, it will have a space for you to put that information in. Or those keywords that you select, it will have a place for that, or where you upload the paper. And then the most important thing to know is that if you start today, you don't have to finish today. The account will stay there, and it will stay there sort of in progress status. And until you hit the submit button and finally finish, your submission won't be done. And even at that point, if you really needed to make a change, you still could make a change. So now we're going to talk about the important dates. The first most important date is October 31st, Halloween at 5 p.m., and that's Central Time. That is the drop dead date for getting your submission in. We highly recommend that you do this, though, a few days before. First of all, we want you to enjoy your holiday Halloween weekend. And secondly, we don't want anyone to feel like they're rushed as far as getting their submissions in. We're on staff to answer your questions. So at English Convention at niu.edu, the sooner you ask your questions, the sooner we can get back to you. And sometimes you might have internet, may go bad. So you don't really want to wait till the last minute. You will get notifications, roundtables, research in the round, chapter share, and alumni presentations, which we didn't talk about today, but are due on October 10th in a few days. Those all will have notifications coming out on November 15th, and the confirmations are due back on December 5th. With regards to papers, those notifications come out on December 14th, and the confirmations are due January 17th. And so if you are accepted to participate in our convention, and I think most of you will, the last most important thing to do is register for the convention. So that will show on the next slide here. Registration opens January 4th. Through 17th, we have a special early rate. Anybody who's participating in the convention needs to register then. It's part of the confirmation, and that we need it that early so that we can actually take all those papers, put them into like sessions, create something meaningful for you to see at the convention, and also notify you by February 15th with a full schedule that will, or just right around February 15th, with a full schedule that shows when you would present and when other people will present. It's sort of that beginnings place where you're going to start planning all those pieces of your convention experience. Mm-hmm. So we're going to open up for any of the questions that you have, and we're going to put those in. Ooh. Okay, so the first question comes from Eunice Tan, and she asks, can I submit multiple submissions? Okay, Diane, do you want to answer that?
Yes. Yes, you can submit multiple papers, but one of the papers must be about the common reader. And you can submit, in addition, a roundtable or a research in the round. It's theoretically possible that a student could have 3 submissions: a paper submission, a common reader submission, and a roundtable or research in the round submission. So yes, you can.
Oh, and there's actually also that opportunity to do the roundtable too, but of course that's not a paper.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Has it started yet? I haven't heard anything yet. Well, yes, submissions have opened. They opened on September 26th. So as Diane suggested, go to englishconvention.org, and that's where you're going to find all the information about submitting to convention.
Yes. Kristen, this is being recorded, and it takes a couple of days to take all the slides and take all the information and put it all up. But I understand that it will be released on Tuesday of next week, we hope. So
yes, that's our plan. We actually put together a full transcript in addition to making sure that the video is clean and is something that you can see. Yes. So what we're going to do is when we have that video up, we will send you an email so that you can access that information. I will also post these slides up tomorrow on the website.
I can take this one. Can we give a short introduction before reading our paper? Normally, you will be introduced by the session chair. Now, does that mean I have never heard a student say hello or anything like that? Of course, I've heard a student say hello. But the key to the 2,000 word limit is that you cannot take up more than your share of reading aloud time, because the people at the paper session want to hear all 4 papers, and then they want to have 15 to 25 minutes to chat and discuss those 4 papers. So if you have a 2,000 word paper, but you want to talk for 3 minutes beforehand to introduce the paper, you're taking more than your share of the time. So normally we don't introduce ourselves. The chair introduces us, and then we just read our paper. Am I right about that, Brett? The chair, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Okay. This is an Elfie question.
The name of the website is englishconvention.org. And you can also get a direct link from our english.org website. So either way, you will get to that information.
Yeah.
Okay, Christopher is asking similar question to the first question. Could the critical essay and poetry be considered 2 separate submissions?
Only
okay, so this requires a little clarification because you can either submit a critical essay or a creative work. Now, if the critical essay is, say, something on American 19th century lit, that's great. And then you switch over and your poetry responds to the common reader, one of the short stories there, that is accepted. That second piece has to be connected to the common reader.
Yes. Okay. Gosh, is that the last question? Oh, all right. Yes, you absolutely are allowed to write about a non-English work in translation. I think that this is a conference that is very generous. We try to find a reason to accept as many papers as possible. If a paper is turned down, it's either because it is way beyond 2,000 words, it is way under 2,000 words, so that's much too short, or it's not that well written. But if a paper is around the right size and about a topic related to English and fairly well written, it's going to be accepted. This is a very user-friendly conference. Yes.
Oh, do you want to take that?
I can do that. All right. There is a category called original prose fiction. And the original prose fiction is up to 2,000 words of original prose. It can be a series of flash fictions. It can be an excerpt from a longer work. So yes, you could read a 2,000 word excerpt from a prose novel in a prose fiction section.
Okay, this is a good question. How do we find roommates for the hotel? Well, we actually have that set up. If you go to the hotel tab on the website, there's a place where there's an email and you send in saying, oh, I'm going to be here Wednesday through Saturday. And I want to have one roommate, and you specify if you male, female, whatever gender is appropriate for you. And what we do from our end is we actually match you up with someone else, and then the two of you will figure out how you want to arrange for that room. So one person would book the room and the other person would join in, and you'd split the fees. Now, it could be also some of the rooms are up to 4 people. So it's really what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Does the registration fee include lodging? No, it would have to be a whole lot more money than that. We do have the rates on the website, and they are, this is a block rate. The hotel blocks the registration can start taking place in December. We put it up December 1st, and that block is open all the way, I believe, through March 7th. Or if, all the rooms are taken up, then what we do is we help you find some other space. But we believe that this hotel, it has 2 towers. It has a lot of rooms. It has a lot of space that it should generously, it's very generous, and I think it should hold everybody that's coming to convention.
Yeah. Brett, you want to take this question?
Oh, I should probably unmute myself. I would love to. Oh, I don't think it's...
Oh, can you see it? Is the $20 fee required to attend the awards luncheon, or only if you want to buy a lunch?
Oh, was that not just answered?
No.
No, we didn't answer that.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, it is. I don't believe it is it? I'm doing a terrible job.
Okay, so here's how it works. The $20 fee is highly subsidized. If any of you have been to weddings at hotels, you know that the cost for a full meal at a hotel is much more than that. But the $20 fee does help support the fact that we can have people at the awards luncheon. Typically, there are, over 600 people that attend this particular awards luncheon. It's the time that we kind of excitingly find out, who's won that poetry award. So there is a $20 fee. There's an opportunity to buy the luncheon at registration. There are a few, we do also have the ability to add that on a little bit later on too. So it's not something you have to decide right off the bat. However, it does need to be purchased in advance.
I do think that calling it a luncheon gives people the idea that it's going to be a sandwich and a bag of chips, but it is a big, elaborate luncheon with waiters and waitresses in a big ballroom, and it's quite fancy. If we charged you what the hotel charges us, it would be about $65 to $80 a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy, but you do not have to come to the awards luncheon to win the award. If you decide you're not coming to the awards luncheon and you win an award, you will still win the award and it will still be sent to you. No, you do not have the option to present virtually. If you cannot present physically, then you can't present. We don't have the budget that would be required for us to set up rooms to allow people to present virtually. It would cost a fortune.
Can we present at the conference in Colorado, even if we didn't present at a regional conference? Of course.
Yes.
So the regional conferences oftentimes are set up a little bit sort of as a practice place. You can kind of try out your paper, see if it really suits this, type of venue. And a lot of students will take the opportunity to present at a regional conference first, but they're not connected.
Yes, you can stay at another hotel if it's more cost efficient for you. If your aunt lives in Denver, you can certainly stay at her house and take a bus into the hotel. There's nothing to prevent you from shopping around for a different lodging. However, once you start shopping around for downtown hotels, the rooming is not going to sound that expensive. It's the lodging is $199 per night, whether you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 people in the room. That sounds really awful because that's not what my family pays when it goes on vacation, but it's way less than I'm used to paying at downtown hotels for academic conferences.
And another thing just to mention is there's a huge convenience factor in being in the hotel. Brett, maybe you want to mention some of the social activities that happen at convention.
Yeah, definitely. The hotel really becomes a really vibrant space for students attending the convention, and it really can feel like, I would say, do whatever's going to financially be the best for you, but certainly, keep in mind that many attendees are going to be staying at the hotel, and that is where all of the convention events, of course, are taking place, including things like our literary pub trivia night that we'll be hosting for students, as well as a little social break room that we'll be hosting for any time folks are doing lunch or dinner on their own. We'll be staffing in a room. The student leaders and myself will be providing some camaraderie in those spaces. And I would say that even just really the lobby, as unstructured as that sounds, I feel like it really just becomes a space where students convene and a place where plans are made. So the hotel really takes on a life of its own at these sort of events.
Right.
Now,
and we have
that the awards luncheon question. I always have my students attend the awards luncheon because it's a chance to sort of celebrate people's successes at the convention. Most attendees will go, and obviously some of the time it will just be people chatting with one another and having their lunch, and then there will be the announcements of all of the winners of all of the different, the best poetry and the best prose nonfiction and the best essay in American literature and that sort of thing. It's a fun time and a fun event. So, okay. That's a good question. I do not anticipate that we will have a hard cap this year. We have a lot of spaces in which to give papers, so we will be able to accept all of the good papers. Some hotels are a little more crowded, fewer breakout rooms, and sometimes we have to turn papers away because we've literally run out of space for presentations. But I would say 2/3 of the submissions are generally accepted. to 70% is probably historically speaking. Does that sound right, Elfie?
Yeah, it depends on the categories too, right?
Yeah. Okay. The every day of the convention, there will be 3 different paper breakout sessions. And so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday each have 3 different paper breakout sessions. So Saturday will be 3 breakout sessions, a short break, the awards luncheon, and people will be able to leave the hotel about 3:30. The convention should be over on Saturday, which gives some people the option of flying home on Saturday night and not having to spend money on Saturday night lodging.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it looks like we have one more question. Are family members also allowed to attend the convention? Of course.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of different ways that works out. Number one is your family members might want to be at the entire convention because, as Diane mentioned, I think Brett mentioned Roy in the beginning, we have featured author speakers. We have just a lot of different things kind of happening. And so you don't have to be academically minded to actually enjoy all the presentations and the things that happen. However, if a family member only wants to come and see your presentation, that is allowed. And, we do that on a case-by-case basis. Anyone who's attending more than just that, however, will need to register for the convention.
Yeah. And there is a special registration rate if your family member wants to just come for one day, which is a savings if you just want to come for the one day.
Right.
Yes, there'll be lots of bonding events. There are student events scheduled on the convention from 8 o'clock in the morning till about 11 o'clock at night. And some of them are formal and some of them are informal. And if you are a night owl, there'll be things to keep you busy. And if you are a morning lark, there will be things to keep you busy. And some of us will be busy 16 or 17 hours a day and sleep on the plane on the way home.
Mm-hmm. Right. Brett, you didn't mention we have open nut mic, we have bad poetry. There's some of those events, and a lot of those happen a little bit later in the evening.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is such a non-answer, but like every event at convention is like fodder for bonding. Like Nick Stone last year was our featured speaker and gave like everyone so much to talk and think about with each other all night and days after. So yeah, lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Well, thank you everybody for staying on. I know we said this was going to be about a half hour, and I think we ran about 12 minutes over, but hopefully we've given you at least a taste or a little flavor of what the convention's all about. And we certainly encourage you to start today thinking about, what you want to submit and create that submission soon. So we're here to answer any more of your questions. And the email address is on the website. And the website again is englishconvention.org. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you and good night.
Good night, everyone.